Okay, stop me if you've heard this one before. How many HR professionals does it take to change a light bulb? None. We don't change light bulbs. It's not even in our job description. Welcome to the HR office, where we decide who does what around the workplace. In my last video, I talked about 4 big reasons why people say that they hate HR. I also said that that's not really a fair assessment of the value that HR can bring to an organization. If your HR department knows what they're doing, they can make sure that you have the right people in the right place with the right skills at the right time to deliver what the customer needs. So this video is for all my HR peers out there. I'm going to provide some pro tips on adding value and winning over those haters.
I hate her already.
I hate her too.
15 years ago, when I worked at Sara Lee, I was the strategic HR business partner for several vice presidents and plant managers.
Oh, good for you.
That was 2005, the same year that Fast Company published that article about hating HR, and coincidentally, the same year that The Office debuted on NBC. But for me, it was a time when the company I worked for was growing like crazy, which meant that in addition to handling all the basic HR administrative functions that we're typically known for, I also had to help the business solve complex people problems that evolved as the business grew.
Wow,
In order to do it all, I had to get creative. So I came up with this 3-step process that enabled me to increase my efficiency and figure out new ways to add value for the organization. Step 1, eliminate HR busywork. Step 2, learn about the organization. Step 3, remove business barriers. It sounds simple, but it works. Over the last 15 years, I've used it in a wide range of businesses in a variety of industries, and you know what? It always leads to that seat at the table that HR is always asking about. So now I'm going to share it with you. Step 1, eliminate busywork. Yeah, the first thing we need to do is take a look at all that paperwork that we do and see if there's anything that we can do to make it easier. I know there's tons of paperwork in HR, but maybe there's a way to get rid of some of it. The goal is to continue to provide all the services that our leaders and employees expect from us without it taking up so much time. I would look at it this way. There's a lot of work that we have to do, but maybe there's a more efficient way to get it done. Here are some examples of ways that you can save some time and energy. We draft a lot of letters to employees in HR. If you're drafting the same letters again and again, maybe you can create some templates that make it easier for you to complete them faster. If you find yourself entering a lot of employee data into your HRIS system, you might want to look into activating certain options that would allow them to make the changes themselves. A lot of software packages these days include options for employee self-service and even manager self-service. So the next time an employee changes their address or switches schedules, you don't have to get involved at all. If you're always answering the same employee policy questions again and again, why not create an FAQ page? You could post it to the internal company website or even post it on a communication board in the real workplace if that's necessary. There are a ton of things that you can do to save time. In one company that I worked for, the HR department was bombarded by manager requests for employee training records all the time. So we put a plan together and spent a few days going through all the employee files and reorganizing and color coding them. It made it so much easier to retrieve the information we needed when we were interrupted in the future, and it saved us a ton of time in the long run. Step 2, learn about your organization. Now that you've freed up all this time, what are you going to do with it? You need to get out of your comfort zone and learn more about other parts of the business. We also need to learn what drives revenue and costs for the company. But we'll get back to that. In every company that I've ever worked for, I spend as much time as I can with the employees that are out in the field actually doing the work.
I'm really looking forward to sitting down with you and finding out more about what you do here.
Anytime.
That really helps me understand the challenges that they're facing day in, day out, and start thinking about what could be done to help make their jobs easier.
What is wrong with this woman? She's asking about stuff that's nobody's business.
This serves 2 purposes. First, you're going to have a better understanding of the jobs.
Really, what do I do here? I should have written it down.
So the next time you have to investigate an employee issue, you know who's responsible for what and how they all interact with each other.
What do I do? Qua something.
And secondly, managers are going to be more comfortable bringing issues to your attention earlier because they know that you care and that you understand what they're going through.
These guys boring your ear off?
No.
I also attend a lot of meetings in other departments, which admittedly can be a little uncomfortable at first.
It's part of my job.
Over the years, I've asked to participate in finance meetings, marketing huddles, operations stand-ups, and tons of sales meetings. You know what? No one has ever said no, and I've never been kicked out of a meeting either.
I feel so welcome here.
In fact, 9 out of 10 times, the manager says that I'm the first HR person that they have ever met that has asked to participate in one of their meetings. And believe it or not, they're usually pretty excited to have me in there.
We are all very lucky to have her here.
Okay, last but not least, if you really want to impress people outside of the HR department, then you need to be able to read the company's P&L report and be able to identify the biggest drivers of cost and revenue in the business. Most of the people I know in human resources don't have a finance background, but don't worry about it. I promise you, this is not rocket science. And if you're intimidated by some of these spreadsheets, I'd recommend talking to someone in accounting. They're usually more than excited to share with you all the ins and outs of the P&L report and anything else you want to learn about math.
I do the numbers.
These days, you don't even have to interact with another human to learn more about things like this. You could go to the Khan Academy or probably look up some videos on YouTube and learn all about how to read a finance report. Step 3, removing barriers for the business. Okay, great. So we freed up some time, we learned about the business. What are we going to do about it? Well, now we can design some really cool HR projects that address real business problems.
Wow,
Here's some examples. Is it taking a really long time for your managers to fill their open jobs? That's going to be frustrating for them and you. You could research and recommend some new advertising channels, or even possibly hire a recruitment agency to help you fill some of the really tough jobs. Does it take a really long time for your new hires to be onboarded and fully effective in their new jobs?
Hazing is a fun way to show a new employee that she is not welcome or liked.
Well, maybe now managers will be more receptive to a step-by-step process that you put together to help them get people up to speed faster.
As part of my last day, I'm training the new human resources rep in the ways of the company.
You might even consider creating a training checklist. Believe it or not, they might actually fill it out.
Look, man, I don't know what's gotten into you lately, but you know what? I really don't care.
Are you having problems with turnover or employee engagement?
why don't you go home?
Maybe you should create an exit survey in Google Forms and make sure everyone who walks out the door fills it out.
We still have to do the exit interview.
Or even better yet, do an employee engagement survey for all your current employees and figure out what the real issues are.
I brought the binder. Do you want to take a little look?
Sure. You know what? That sounds good.
Are managers and employees in your organization frustrated with the annual performance review process? A lot of times they are.
I guess everything's okay.
That might be an opportunity for a really interesting HR project that can improve the process for everyone.
What would you improve?
Are leaders in your organization worried that they're going to lose the top talent because of some of the frustrations people are expressing?
I'm gonna miss Toby. Yep, he's a heck of a guy.
Well, now you can put together a communication plan to make sure that each individual employee feels valued and appreciated. You might even consider creating a structured career development plan for key roles in your organization.
I made it this far, right? What's the point?
Okay, so that's it. It's 2020. There's no reason for people to hate human resources anymore, and there's a lot of ways that we can add value to the organization. There's just a few things that you need to do to make it happen. Get out from under that mountain of paperwork, learn more about what your business needs from you, and then design some really cool projects to help address those issues. In the meantime, if anyone wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn or send me an email, I'd be happy to connect and share thoughts on how you might be able to implement some of these ideas in your current role.